Must be Not Your Normal Sunday Show with R. Wayne Steiger and me, Jeffrey Daugherty. So glad to have you here. Wayne was talking about some profound stuff that he's been seeing and experiencing this week. Wayne, what's been going on?
Well, first of all, good morning to you.
And good
And
morning to you.
welcome everybody. I guess it says that they're waiting, but well, anyway, very interesting times, my friend. I'm going to show you something, if I may, and I want to.
We were just on a show together the other day, right?
Believe we were. So let me get this pulled up for us. Give me 1 second. All right, let me show you this real quick. This was captured July 28th, Rome, Italy. And here is the view, folks. Just watch.
Is that the black dot what we're looking at?
Yeah, just keep on. And we're sitting here and he's saying, well, what? Well, there's his friends.
Wow. Now, of course, my mind first says, can this be altered?
Nope. You can actually go to blackvault.com. They bust these kind of things. And this one is still unknown.
And they're pretty much flying in formation, which is interesting.
Yep. So there you go. So what does that say? Well, it says to me that we're living in very different times.
Well, the thing that comes into my mind is that they're flying in a formation. I was in the Air Force for 6 years. It almost looks like a military formation. And it makes you wonder about the whole ideas of military bases on the moon, whether they're Anunnaki or Nazi or us or Russia or somebody else. But it definitely it had a military bent to it. And at least that was my initial blink on it.
Yeah. And I've been hearing things like this. It's just like, they're seeing more and more of it. What does this mean? And we live in such strange times. We talk about the Anunnaki. We try to figure out how this whole creation story is, wrapped around and how we fit into it. And it's very interesting when I got onto this, and it certainly leads one to give credence to guidance. You can either call it spirit guide, you can call it fate, you can call it whatever, a path. But there definitely seems to be where material is brought to you and knowledge. And the one that I have to tell you, Jeff, has had a very profound spiritual impact on me are the 7 principles and studying them.
I saw you talking with Sue G about that the other night.
Yeah. And, the 7 principles are, number 1 principle is, the first principle is mentalism. The second principle is mentalism. Yes. Mm-hmm. The second principle is correspondence. Third principle, vibration. Fourth principle, polarity. Fifth principle, rhythm. Sixth principle, cause and effect. And seventh principle is gender. And what's so interesting about
gender as in sex?
Well, that's how we have been taught to perceive yes. The answer, yes.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. Like, okay, I got that. That is what, at this level of the material you want to talk that we're made out of, matter, the plane, the reality of matter, that's what we view everything as. Our universe is based on male-female. But as we learn from the 7 principles, and by the way, Jeff, what I was telling Lynn this yesterday, you can see the plagiarism of Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hindu, Buddhists, all of them have plagiarized the 7 principles and founded their religions on these 7 principles. In fact, Because I'm like you. I studied the New Testament. Anyone who's come out of the name it and claim it crowd, Kenneth Copeland, that kind of the faith movement, your whole foundation of your belief was on faith.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's still ingrained to me. Romans 26, I believe, it says that, maybe I'm 27. I'm glad I'm forgetting a lot of that. That
Absolutely.
anything that doesn't proceedeth from faith is sin. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And then in Hebrews 11:6, it says it's impossible to please God without faith. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently
Right.
seek him. And then the conundrum that I came to in 1979 when I first came across it in the Amplified Bible was Hebrews 13:5, because it was so out of character of Hebraic expression. And there's where we have the thrice made promise of God, where he proclaims, I will not, I will not, I will not in any way fail you, nor leave you without support in any way, assuredly not. So that's the only place in the entire Bible that you find God stating 3 times, I will not, I will not, I will not. And now I know where it comes from. The 7
So
principles.
what would you say to the people that the Christians that would say, well, the 7 principles copied us?
No, because the 7 principles were way before Christianity was even thought about. And let me just say this. Christianity, let's get real serious about this, is nothing more than a political system. It's a political party.
That's why it
That's
was created.
that's exactly why it was created, and that is exactly what it is today. It's not a religion. It's a political party.
I would say, which by definition is a fear and guilt control matrix.
Yeah. And oddly enough, on foxnews.com, there was a opt-in by a guy by the name of Andy Stanley. I actually have it pulled up here. 5 reasons people leave the church. You want to see this? Let me show.
Interesting.
Let me show this to you.
Okay. Then
There
I
we
got
go.
something to show you.
Okay, can you see that?
5 reasons people leave the church. I see it.
Yeah. So what Andy, if you ever get this, buddy, wake up, man. It isn't because, here's the thing. He says that many people are leaving now because they find that the Bible is the basis of Christianity. Well, if it's not the Bible, then what is it? And he goes on to say, well, that's not the case. It's Jesus. Okay. The
Well,
second
they'd
one,
like you to believe that because the Bible is so full of contradictions and holes and absurdities. They want to get you off the Bible and get you onto the plastic Jesus, but it's a little bit ironic in that the master, if he did exist, or at least the message that coalesced around him, finally said, look, you study the scriptures because you think in them you have eternal life, but you don't. You don't have eternal life because you won't come to me. So they're kind of coming our way, even if they don't know it, Wayne.
yeah, exactly. The second one, they believe suffering disproves the existence of God. Okay. They had a bad church experience. Really?
That's
Uh,
redundant.
we're bad at making people feel well. I mean, are you? And then he has to go to the ecclesia because now it's not a church. It is. As he said, the term church should have never been put into the Bible. Well, right there we got a problem because he admits that they are adding to or taking away. Anyway, I digress.
Absolutely.
So anyway, there we go. It's different times that we do live in, my friend.
It is. And speaking of different times, let me show you something here real quickly. And hopefully there's not anything bad on here that I'm showing. But what do you make of these, Wayne? Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Where's my make it bigger?
There it is, right there, up
Where?
up the top. Now
That?
move over. No, move over to the right.
Oh, I can't see because this stupid bar is in the way.
Move the
Okay.
bar, and there you go. This is like Mythbusters. I'm trying to tell a blind man how to drive. Now move over to your right. Well,
Yeah, I can't. Okay, here
there
we
you
go.
go.
Look at that thing in the sky.
Yeah.
Do you see anything interesting on that?
The clouds.
This right here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another view. No, that's the same view. My bad. There's another view.
Why, look at there. We got a planet.
What I see, and Jay Campbell sent this to me. Jay Campbell took these. I see like hieroglyphics, as you would see like inside a pyramid, of a dude walking around with wings, like Babylonian, Egyptian,
That's the eye
Anunnaki
of
type
Ra.
symbolism. And
That's the.
I see what you're saying with the eye too, but
It's the eye of Ra.
it almost seems like a message in the sky, and I'm not into these things, but I just thought I'd share it.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Right now, I see that. That is the eye of Ra.
So anyway, that's my contribution to the conspiratorium for the day.
So, the thing that I've got on this journey, it has been. Well, we have a pretty active room in here.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that so much.
Is this, Jeff? The 7 principles, as you get into them, they begin to explain virtually every paradox that you can think of. But it also introduces a lot of thought that I can tell you many minds won't be able to accept. But those, as the word, I thought you would like this. What I have gotten from the Logos is the Rhema burns brightly within me.
And why don't you explain to people what the Rhema is?
The Rhema is the light. I call it it's the total wisdom. It's the illumination of the Logos of the Word. And in the 7 principles, what you find from the all, which God cannot describe the all. God is this merely a construct of what man puts in place because it's beyond knowing and it's beyond recognition. But yet it is known and it is recognized. That's the conundrum. It teaches you, for instance, on the principle of correspondence, right? And the principle of polarity. Let's take hot and cold. Where does hot begin and where does cold stop?
That's interesting.
Where does like begin and dislike take over?
That's a good question.
When does hate become love?
Ooh, that's a close one. There's a thin line. Sammy asks this every single week, Wayne. So I'm gonna interrupt the show and give Sammy what I can't see if it's a he or a she there on the little meme, but
I think it's a guy.
he's asking for an R.W. Shambach impression.
Well, you got one on this one.
I got one. Let's see. Let's go with, you don't have any problems. All you need is faith in God.
I love
Somebody
the man.
Lift both hands and shout hallelujah.
And you know the thing about him, when he'd get going, he'd always have that handkerchief.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like, oh, praise God.
I always asked him, why doesn't he keep those and sell them afterwards?
Ooh, hey, listen, I mean, goes right in line with Paul, doesn't it?
It would have. It'd be, one of those. What were those things called? Prayer cloths.
Prayer cloths, I believe. Yeah. You know, I'll just spit on this and you'll feel it. So,
but Wayne, I don't know if I've told you this story, but I was so much more spiritual than RW and any of those guys. I didn't need the anointing oil. I didn't need the handkerchiefs. When people would come up in my prayer lines to get prayed, I'd simply take the sweat from my brow and anoint them with that.
There you go. Man, that's a transference.
And nobody ever balked at that. Can you imagine all those thousands of people? Let me wipe my sweat all over them.
Yeah, now you want to go. So I wrote this right before we came on. And because I was up at 4:30, I was filming the moon. There was a
Oh,
blood
wow.
moon. I didn't know that there was supposed to be a blood moon.
Yeah, it's the harvest moon.
Well, there was. It was getting blood red when it was setting at 4:30 this morning. Anyway, this is what I got. One must deconstruct entirely all former images of God. Otherwise, you cannot go forward.
Yeah, you have to unlearn error before you can learn truth.
Yeah. And the first thing that, if you follow the Hermetic teachings, is that God, as you call, is basically mind.
Right. The
Yeah.
mind is all, the Hermetic
Yeah.
teachings say.
Exactly. And there is no physical God. It's impossible for there to be a physical God. How could a physical body that would be of such debased matter begin to even contain one part? And it gets really deep because it says that there can be no beginning. And here's why. And here's where you look at Hebrew, that eventually became Judaism, Christianity. They all definitively state in the beginning.
Right.
That's the first great deception. Because here's why it's a deception. If that is true, we're not here. There can be no beginning with the all. It's impossible. You
By the
can have
definition of
finite endings.
them. Yep.
Huh? Yeah.
I'm with you.
You can have finite endings, but it is impossible for there ever to be a beginning. And when
At least for the divine, you would say that'd be impossible.
oh, it is. Yeah. And that's why you begin to understand the other principles, that what our reality is consistent of is very unique, because it's consistent of the mental, but also that of the material.
Absolutely. And good morning in Newcastle, England. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Can I
And
read you
Wayne,
something?
I've started to try to kind of stick my tongue out a little bit or lick my lips at least once or twice every program so somebody can make one of those Jeff is a reptilian videos.
Oh, mercy. Can I get an amen from back?
I'm here to serve.
Yeah, well, you do serve, my friend. So allow me just to read you something. See, there are keys in the Hermetica. And if you begin to pick up on these keys, they really begin to help you out. This is God talking to Hermes. And he calls himself Pimedrus. And he says, I myself, the mind, am present to the blessed and good and pure and merciful, to the reverent, and my presence becomes a help. They quickly recognize everything, and they appropriate to the Father, loving and give thanks, praising and singing hymns affectionately in order to appropriate to him. Before giving up the body to its proper death, they loathe the senses, for they see their effects. Or rather, I, the mind, will not permit the effect of the body to strike and work their results on them. As gatekeeper, I refuse entry to the evil and shameful effects, cutting off the anxieties that come from them. But from those but from these I remain distant. The thoughtless and the evil and the wicked and the envious, the greed and violent and irreverent, giving way to the avenging demon who wounds the evil person, assailing him sensibly with the piercing fire, and thus arming him the better for lawless deeds, so that the greater vengeance may befall him. Such a person does not cease longing after insatiable appetites, struggling in the darkness without satisfaction. This tortures him and makes the fire grow upon him all the more. So here's what happens at death. First is the releasing of the material body. You give the body itself over to alteration. The form that you used has vanished. To the demon, you give over your temperament. It means your temper. It now becomes inactive. the body senses rise up and flows back to the particular source, becoming separate parts and mingling again with the energies. And feeling and longing go on towards irrational nature. Thus, the human being rushes up through the cosmic framework at the first zone, surrendering the energy of increase and decrease. At the second zone, evil mechanism, a device now inactive. In the third, the illusion of longing, now inactive. The fourth, the ruler, arrogance, now freed of the excess. The fifth, unholy presumption and daring recklessness. At the sixth, the evil impulses that come with wealth, now inactive. And at the seventh zone, the deceit that lies in ambush. And then, stripped of the effects of the cosmic framework, the human enters the region of what they call the Ogdod. He has the power, and now you possess your own proper power. And along with the blessed, the hymns to the Father. Those present there rejoice together in his presence, and having become like his champions, he also hears certain powers that exist beyond the Ordodic region, and the hymn of God, which is a sweet voice. They rise up to the Father in order to surrender themselves to the powers, and having become powers, they enter into God. This is the final good for those who have received knowledge to be made God. Why do you still delay? Having learned all this, should you not become guides to the worthy, so that through you the human race might be saved by the word of God?
Interesting. What were you reading from?
This is the Hermetica.
Oh, the Hermetica. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of work on that, I've seen.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Wayne.
Yes, sir.
We don't have to go to it right now, but did the 10th of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And have you given any contemplation to the word that he left in the 10th tablet? He said, use this word to open the doors, and that word is Zen Uru.
Zen Uru, yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
I've read them. To be honest with you, I have not given much thought to that.
But you haven't pondered Zen Uru at all?
Not yet. Have you?
I've been pondering it. There's not a whole lot on it, and I guess the only way to really find out if it works is to try it. And you're like, what's going to happen if I do that?
I had his, the prayers up on my whiteboard for, good Lord, 6 months.
Did you?
Yeah, I prayed those prayers every day. Spoke.
Any demons?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
no.
good.
No.
No mantis beings, no Anunnaki.
Mm-mm.
No Nanunnaki from the leak region, the leak system.
From our friend Rex. I think he's got them all down in Padosa Springs.
I was down there. I was on with Rex recently. I can't remember what night.
You were on there with Derek?
With Derek and I can't remember who all was there, but yeah, it was an interesting time.
Yeah, y'all were talking on the apocalypse, right?
That's right, the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And aliens and Jesus and all that. And people are right. The apocalypse is coming. But what they, and I didn't get to get into this because it went a different direction, but the apocalypse is coming. And we've all been trained and scared into thinking the apocalypse is a horrible thing. But apocalypse simply means unveiling.
Yeah.
So all that's coming is an unveiling. And if you get unveiled and you're lacking, you're in trouble. If you get unveiled and you're not, it's going to be all right.
It's fine. I like what the promise that Hermes gives. Now, whoever Hermes was, there is someone that's postulated the Christ was Hermes.
Yep.
The stories
are the same.
Yeah. Someone said that, Thoth may have taught John. And it certainly looks like the Gospel of John is more Gnostic than it is Hebraic.
Yeah, the Gospel of John's definitely a Gnostic document. There's no doubt about it.
And, so you get into these meditative states when I start reading, and it's explained in the Principle of Correspondence what happens. As I told my audience the other day, if you are not on the mind of the all, you ain't living. You ain't existing. The only reason we're all here is that because we are on the mind of the all, and the all is mind. He gave birth to the mind of the cosmic, which in turn gave birth to the mind of the cosmos, which gave birth to us.
Interesting.
And by the way, Jeff, a conundrum was answered for me. I think I know why there are so many different mental images of God, whether it be the Elohim, whether it be the blue people that are primarily very well known in the Hindu. No matter what the image, it becomes very understanding. The all will comply to the laws and the principles governing that plane. And in this plane, we see things from the physical. The physical defines what we begin to build that inner core image of ourselves on. And it's how we get lost in this journey. The Hermetica that I finished up on Friday showed how we're imprisoned in these bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we screamed coming in. The horror that they say that we faced was that we knew what was coming.
And we got trapped.
Yes. And we knew the pain that was about to hit us because we didn't know pain. And as they entombed us into these physical bodies, it is why that the birth process takes as long as it does. When a baby first is here, the baby has no control of this body. It's not because of the body and its function. The body can still has legs, arms. It's the fact that you have your spirit, your soul, your mind is melding into something of the material plane of existence. And when you take spiritual and immerse it into physical, it becomes a problem.
Do you think that there's spirits or whatever we are before we're into these bodies? Are there times where people are about to come into the body and they say, "Oh no, I'm not doing this again," and they don't come, they back out?
I think there may be well, there's obviously something that happens. Part of what the all says is that we mold these bodies. There's apparently a soul gatekeeper, and this God, because God says it's a God, as the soul comes in, it determines what body is going to go into. So maybe there's something that goes wrong in there. That's an interesting point.
Because I mean, what happens if you get to the very end? You're like, "Oh no, I'm not doing this again." You finally wake up and say, "No, no, no, I'm not coming back on this ride again. I'm out of here." And you
It
just
could
book.
happen. Now, it says, by the way, on the thing on reincarnation, because we are incarnated into these bodies. I had never thought about that. You know, we are the incarnation of
Right.
what we were before we got here. I always had a difficult time, Jeff, rationalizing in my mind how I could have existed before I was here. But now I clearly understand that what my mind is seeing is not what I really am. We all view ourselves as though we're watching a movie of ourselves. And that feeling that you get that you're sitting in a theater or you're watching this as you're living it is why we have that dimensional viewpoint.
Absolutely. And for some reason, this has come up in the chat room. Should you go to the light or not?
I don't think there is a light. Here's another conundrum for everyone. Tell me where light begins and darkness ends.
There you go.
They're one
And
and
you
the
should go to
same.
where you think you should go. Be divine, be sovereign, be free. Have enough knowledge to know what you are supposed to do.
The conundrum that many people can't handle is that in order for God to exist, as it's preached in most religions, that God has to be a murderer as well.
Absolutely. Hello in Australia.
Hello, Australia. You can't, and that's what people have they say, oh, no, 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 no. Our God is perfect. No, no, it can't be that way.
And this thought just came to me, Wayne. If you're out of this body, what you see as light in this body is not what you see as light out of this body. So how do you know what it is? So to worry about, to say, don't go to the light, don't go to what you think and what you see with these human eyes, it's completely different spectrum. So you won't even know what light is. So I think that's just it's a big
It's a
big
trap.
distraction.
It is. Thank you. My meditation this morning, I was told it's just exactly that. It's a distraction. It's a rabbit hole that's not going to lead anywhere.
Yep, just be ready.
Yeah.
Everybody wants an answer. Everybody wants a silver bullet. Everybody wants some crib notes. Everybody wants the cliff notes. And I know nobody knows what those are anymore. It's just, there is no easy answer.
No.
There is no silver bullet.
No.
Just be ready.
I think the reason why, so I'm out there this morning, and then it was beautiful watching this blood moon setting. And I'm just talking because I now understand something, Jeff. What we call prayer is nothing more than the principle of vibration. The principle of vibration allows us to begin to touch the mind of the all.
Mm. And by the way, it's called Cole's Notes in Canada.
I love this guy. But when you begin to see the vibration of thought is a vibration. Now,
interesting.
I see it where I'm talking to the mind of the all, because the all is the mind.
Mm-hmm. And Toth talked about that, Wayne. He said that frequency and vibration and words, words, which are frequency, which are vibration, are the power. And that's why, he talked about Zen Uru. And somebody just said, Billy just said that Zen Uru opens up another level of consciousness.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Hermes said that the thing that he grieved the most about was the ancient Egyptian language, because he said they could open up dimensions with a word. With a single word, he said, we can transport ourselves into another place.
And Thoth went to Egypt after Atlantis fell and taught him that stuff. So it all circles back around. So I may have to employ this Zen Uru and see what happens.
What do? By the way, isn't it also part of the Kabbalah myth that Moses, with his master magicians, opened up portals that brought down from wherever he was dealing with here, and actually this is where we get the Ten of the Tabernacles from.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
I'm more and more convinced the more I study that Moses was trying to get the heck out of Egypt, couldn't figure out a way to do it, so he made a deal with an extraterrestrial entity that took on the name of Yahweh and gave them the power, and they stole the Imhulu, aka the Ark of the Covenant, and that's why they made this deal. And I think that Moses made a deal with an off-world entity that took on the name of Yahweh.
I agree. I think this answers the question for the Anunnaki. It answers the questions of demons. It answers a lot of these questions, because when we understand this, do you know, Jeff, when you start reading about the Hermetic Code, how many people the church has burned alive? I was shocked to find out what they did in the Great Purge, where the King of France, the Carthians were the ones, the Templars were also victims of this. Yep. This is what they burned. This is what they wanted out of the hands of the masses.
Yep. And Wayne, if you think about it, I did a show on this sometime. I mean, I think it was last week. But when God, quote unquote, spoke to Moses from the burning bush, first he said, "My name is Yah," and then he said, "My name is Yahweh." So he said two names within, that same experience. And that made me think, and I'm not a Anunnaki guy, but Yah and Yahweh made me think of Enlil and Enki. Did both of them show up in that burning bush?
It's an interesting postulation. I mean,
Because
I'm
there were
thinking,
two names.
yeah. Well, I can see this. You gave me the wrong script.
Yeah.
It's like,
I am a Yah. No, 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 no.
no,
Wait
no,
a
no,
minute.
no, no,
Where
no,
is that? Cut.
no.
I
You didn't
am
see that.
Yahweh. Dude
It
doesn't even know his own name?
no,
Or was there two of them?
had to been. I
Yeah.
mean, the duality. It's if
Oh,
it
and
all.
there's your duality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. If you got Enlil and
Oh,
Enki or two gods, you've got duality.
you got duality.
So this is the world of duality. And our friend Derek Bros is fond of saying, don't pick a side.
Don't.
So stay out of the duality.
That is the, by the way, the sixth principle of cause and effect, in that you have to understand all truth are half truths, and
Hmm.
all half lies are half truths.
Exactly. And if why is the God of the Bible a jealous God? Because he's always fighting with his brother, right?
Yeah. It's like
There's
if he's
jealousy.
God, who does he got to be jealous of? I mean,
That's true.
you created everything, right, dude? I mean, what?
Yeah. And you know, when you think about it, jealousy is so stupid because, I mean, even if you just bring it down to this earthly plane, right? Jealousy, you really can't control anybody by being jealous. And usually it has the opposite effect. And I mean, in the worst case scenario, ladies, you lose a man. I have news for you. There's 3.5 billion other ones out there.
Well, I was thinking how many
You want one
relationships,
that would do that anyway.
yeah, that have been ruined, destroyed over jealousy. I mean, how many murders have been attributed to jealousies? How many, you could just add and add and add to that. Boy, Jeff,
Yeah.
and you start analyzing that. Well, why would anyone have that trait to begin with if you're a God?
I don't want a spouse that's jealous, much less a God that's jealous.
Yeah,
But why is jealousy so prevalent in our society? Well, we're all trying to be like God, and God is jealous.
we just mirror exactly what we believe.
Yeah, we want to walk around, being, yelling at people, screaming at people, beating people up, being, getting revenge, getting our wrath, being jealous. Well, we're just acting like our God. We've created a God, and the Bible says that we're created in the image of God, or have we created a God in our image?
In fact, that's
Mark
part
Sinner's saying, I haven't seen you in a long time, my brother. Very nice to see you.
that it actually says that that's exactly what we did do.
Oh, here's a good quote. I forgot who said this. Jealousy is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Ooh, ooh, that's intense. I like
Yeah.
that.
Jealousy can't control what you wanted to control, might have the opposite effect. And
Well, here's what
if
scares
they're going to
me.
do that, you don't want them anyway. So what the hell? It makes no
And
sense.
if he's God and he's got that kind of temperament, I mean, that's bad news for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just flat bad news.
But aren't we divine, Wayne? Aren't we sovereign? Aren't we free? Aren't we gods? Didn't the master tell us we're gods?
Yes, but here's the
So
problem.
why would we be jealous if we're divine, sovereign, and free?
Because I think so many people begin to take on an opaque part of their spirit, and they begin to lose touch with their divine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once it becomes contaminated, it's like, you know, you live along a river,
Yeah.
and particularly, let's say the Mississippi, you pull it up, that ain't water. You can't see through it.
No, it's kind of gross. And it's interesting to me that you talk about the mighty Mississippi. I have jumped over the Mississippi River before. There's places where you can almost literally jump across the Mississippi, but it's still the Mississippi.
Yeah,
It's just not the Mississippi you think of at that particular moment in that particular place.
that, Jeff, we're all
And
heading.
I wish I'd made more coffee, Wayne. I'm really
Well, you want to go get
lacking
some more?
a coffee. I mean, no, I didn't. There's not in the pot. I'm
Oh,
thinking I wish I'd have made some more.
well,
And then what's interesting, the Jordan was very muddy as well as the
yeah,
Mississippi.
yeah. It just begins to explain so much for me, Jeff. I mean, I can say this. I know probably what I'll be thinking about in the moment of my departure. And it's going to be the seven principles.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at those things. I never even heard of them until I saw you and Suji or the other night doing it. Is it akin to the spiritual laws?
Yes.
And I just Googled it and I got 7 principles of everything except what you guys were talking about. There's 7 principles
Yeah.
of marriage, social media. I mean, there's 7 principles for everything, Wayne.
Well, this is out of the Kabbalion,
Oh,
and
okay.
it
That's a
states,
good book.
yes, it states the all is mind, the universe is mental. This is the first law, the first principle.
Gotcha. Yep. I know where you're coming from now.
Yeah. This principle embodies that the truth that all is mind. It explains that all, which is the substantial reality
Yeah,
underlining, pardon?
I just was saying to myself, I need to Google the 7 Hermetic principles.
Yeah. I will say this, and Jeff, we have a growing audience here. I know you get emails, I get emails. People wait to watch this show because we bring them truth. And
Well, we bring them stuff to think about anyway, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes truth and a lie are the same line.
Yeah, because in every lie there's truth, in every truth there's a
There's a
lie.
lie. Yeah, that's the conundrum that we live in. But this is what I do know. There is a prophecy that Hermes did say that to those who have been destined, who are, folks, you ready for this? Moving up. We're not coming back through anymore, man. You get a hold of this, I will tell you this, your whole life can change. If you're poor, you can become wealthy. If you're sick, you can become well. I mean, Jeff, I get it. The plagiarism that Paul did from the 7 Hermetic principles is replete in all of his writings.
Can I share something with you that Toth said that speaks right to what you're talking about? Toth said, in order to get where you want to go, he said, go upward and to the right in curves. Go upward and to the right. So you're always spiraling. Number one, you're not going straight. But think about it. If you're going up and to the right, you're going up and in and up and in. The way up is the way in. If you go to the left, you're going up and you're going out.
Yes.
Out. And that's what religion wants you to do. Go out of yourself, rely on something else to supposedly ascend. But the reality is you go up and in, up and in. And the only way really to go up is to go in. The only way to go in is to go up.
Yeah. And the only way to go
It's
out.
an inside job, like somebody, I can't remember her name right now, always says.
Who is that?
I don't know who that is.
It's like I don't see Bubba anymore. How is he?
Who's Bubba?
Your guy.
Oh, Brother Jeff. I think I left Brother Jeff in Clearwater.
Yeah, well, I wonder how Brother Jeff be taking some of this.
I wonder what Brother Jeff would be doing.
I think he'd be going, uh-huh. So in the principle of correspondence, by the way, that's where we get the principle of the law, as above, so below, as below, so above. And people forget the other part to this. As within is without, as without is within.
Interesting. And somebody just said in the chat room, lefty loosey. Left loose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, righty tighty.
You go left, you get loose. Right, you stay tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Spring Hill, Florida. I once owned a house in Spring Hill.
There we go. Welcome. So this is what's changed me. My wife, because I share this with her, I'll read to her, and she just looked over and she said, this is the answer. Now, my wife is a very down-to-earth, very, very strong individual. And this is kind of just clicking for us. I mean, it's like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I understand where that came from. And you know what it makes me, Jeff? I used to have the burr up my butt sometimes where Christians were concerned, because it was like it is. Well, it was like a gladiator match. They come in, they attack, and then you take the counterattack. And you get into this rhythm where nothing is accomplished. One of what the Hermetic principles teaches us is that it's all right. Their God is nothing more than a mental projection. So get used to it. If you can't learn to accept opposites, you're going to get held back.
What do you mean by that? You mean to hold opposing thoughts in your mind?
No, we sometimes have an aversion in opposites. For instance, if you, let's just use the phrase, you get into a certain political party. Well, that begins to set you automatically against to be opposed to anything the opposing party was said. You're going
Right,
to reject.
automatically.
Yeah. Instead, what we have to understand is that it's all mental, folks, and it doesn't really exist.
Right.
A political party, a religion, is only as strong as the minds that are contributing to it.
Interesting. Interesting. And I'm looking at the third principle, Hermetic principle, the law of vibration, principle of vibration.
Yes, powerful.
Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. And if you're not moving, if you're not vibrating, you're dying.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. You have that low vibration, which seems like it's almost not moving. And then you have the higher vibration where it seems like it's not moving.
Yep.
But
It's moving so fast you can't tell it's moving, or it's moving
yes.
so slow you can't tell it's moving.
So the exercises I've been doing on that one, it says one of the keys to become a master is that a master understands that they cannot change what is happening, the fate, destiny. Let's say you get a bad phone call. What you can change is how you react to it. You can change the frequency of the impact of what it's going to have. Let's say it's negative news. You can immediately change that frequency and have it match to where you are at. Yeah, it's bad news, but you understand that it's part of living in this reality. Everything is born, everything dies, everything is reborn.
Yeah. And here's another good one, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in, everything has tides, all things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifest in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Wayne, I don't like that one. I want to fight that one. I want to change that one. I want to break that principle. Why do I have to have the fall? I want just rise. Why do I have to have the downtime? I just want the good time. I want bliss all the time. Why do I have to settle for some? Why do I have to eat a shit sandwich every now and then? I don't get it.
Because in the sixth principle or the sixth law is called the law of cause and effect.
I don't know, man. I resist that. Why do I surrender to the fact that it's not going to be good all the time? Can't I make it good all the time? Aren't I a god?
Well, again, as the principles teach you in correspondence, it's the way it is. There are certain things in this reality, it just is. And once you realize that there are just some things that are, it's okay. How's it
But
going
what
to
if I
be?
want to make it different?
Well, then for Jeff Doherty can make it different. There's nothing stopping you from impacting your own reality.
Yeah, but the problem is when other people don't want to go along with my reality, man.
Well, then you become a master, and the master begins to learn, and there are ways that you can do it. And we see it. We see it in the charismatic figures, even in our own culture, whether they be movie stars, politicians, etc., athletes. Mm-hmm. We love exalting others. And what happens? I mean, it's like Tiger Woods yesterday. It was a phenomenal round of golf that he played in that first 9. And the thing about it is that he, in his interview, was very honest. He's a Buddhist. And he said, I feed off the energy. He says, I can literally improve my game by the energy of the crowds. And now the crowds are loving this guy. They're exalting him back to, Apollo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that it is, and I mean, I could do it if I wanted to be by myself all the time. If I wanted to be alone, I could control my reality. But if you don't want to be alone, you can't control your reality.
Yeah.
Completely.
Well, let's just go by the very first entrance in this. It said the principles of truth are seven. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open.
Yeah.
And many times when I'm learning, reading this wonderful book, I mean, the history of this book, by the way, when you get into the history of it, it reads like a who's who in modern man's history. Every person that's touched this knowledge has, wherever it has been exalted, the cases of Florence, it broke the Dark Ages. It brought forth the
Right.
Renaissance. I think, Jeff, and it's, let me just try to get this out because many times the downloads hit. I think we are in a new age of awareness. I think that there's going to be people like me that have seen this, have been searching for this, and it ties it all together. It's not a religion. You don't make this a religion. That's a fool's trap.
Yeah.
It's truths.
Yeah. So I think part of my growth is to be able to ride the pendulum and understand that it's not always going to be perfect, even as much as I hate that. I don't like that. I don't want to accept that.
Well, that I'm sure has something to do with who you are. They knew this. Part of the principles that you learn in here is that when you get into the body, there is just some people who aren't going to make it. They're just
You think I'm one of those people,
no,
Wayne?
no. Because here's the thing. This is what the principle teach. The minute you think that you want to be next to God, the mind of God, the essence of God, you're already on the path.
Wow. Thank you so very much. Wayne, I just brought a brand new cup of hot piping coffee.
I'll tell you, you got favor.
Oh man.
But
I
Jeff,
love
even
that girl. She's not perfect, but she's perfect for me.
yes, but we're
And you know
made
what, Wayne?
perfect.
It's not always easy, bro.
No,
I thought when I moved in with her, everything would be perfect and easy and smooth. It's not.
how's that going?
It's not. And I don't like that it's not. But
Well, don't get to the point where you have hallway sex.
what is that?
You never heard what hallway sex is?
Never heard of that.
That's when you walk down the hall, the other guy goes, and
Also, you just flip each other off in the hallway.
and well, you actually say the word as well, you know.
Oh, wow. So that, yeah, don't let your, thank you so much, Sandra. That's a beautiful cup of coffee. But yeah, it bothers me that it's not, she just said F you. It bothers me that it's not always perfect. It really does.
That's interesting, Jeff. That um, I I'll be curious if you immerse yourself into these seven principles. I'd really like to see your interpretation because
I'm going to do it.
it's changed my life. I just got to tell you, it has changed my life. I know where my destiny is now heading, and I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And
Wow. Yeah, I do too.
yeah,
I do
we all
too.
do. We're part of this. Um, I'll put it how it was said to me.
Oh, there's a good idea. A new cosmic sleepover, an overnight marathon, an esotericathon.
Well, that
The
could
Super Jack. That's an excellent idea.
be something. I can tell you next week we're going to be. I'm spending the entire week on the Kabbalion on the seven principles.
That'll be interesting.
Jeff, we're going to set people free. I mean, when I finally got over this construct in my head, I told my audience so much about you last week was that Jimmy Swaggart, in one of his, when he was in the St. Louis campaign, you were probably working for him at
I
that point.
probably was. What year was it?
Oh, what was that? 79?
Too early.
Okay, 79, 80, right around there. Well, anyway, he had a whole sermon that he did on the Great White Throne Judgment.
Oh, I remember that sermon. I've heard him preach it.
And he paints it like Michael D'Angelo. I mean,
Does.
when you walk out of that, brother, you are under the spell.
Yep.
Because you're like saying, oh shit, man,
Yeah.
there ain't gonna be any way out. And you know, was my impression of God. That became my foundation of this being sitting on this throne and parading all these souls by. And I'm going, oh man. And for 35 years, my perception of God was a deity, a physical deity. And now I realize that can't be, never is, never was, not going to be.
So you're no longer worshiping Charlton Heston?
I guess not. Damn it.
Because that's what he looked like.
Really?
And there are correspondences between what is called the spiritual laws, universal laws, and the Hermetic 7 principles. And me thinks, and this is going to upset some people, I think this whole idea of the spiritual laws, universal laws, was stolen from the 7 principles of Hermeticism.
Yes, sir. I would hitch my horse up to that wagon. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, partner.
Well, that's all right. I'll be your huckleberry.
I'm your huckleberry, and I out there and go to Doc Holliday's grave.
We ought to do a show from up there. I'll tell you
That
what.
would be so much fun.
Yeah. Well, we got Rex down there. We can just pull him up. I mean, it's only a 2-3 hour drive.
We could all dress like Tombstone.
I think we could do that.
That would be awesome.
You know, listen, that is one of the best Westerns that has ever been produced out of Hollywood. I'll just say
it's a tough battle for me. Is my favorite movie Tombstone, or is it Highlander, or is it Wrath of Khan?
Wow. Now, Wrath of Khan, of all the Star Trek movies, was one of the best.
Yeah, it was.
From heart's perdition, I stab at thee.
I stab at thee. That was great stuff. That was great stuff.
Cartel Montalban.
Boy, was he jacked? You remember that his chest was like...
Oh, man, I mean, the dude, you know...
He was doing some bench pressing.
I mean, I think it's what Tom Cruise is trying to emulate.
Yep. But Wayne, you know, there can be only one.
This is true.
And some people say there should have only been one Highlander movie, too, because it went downhill quick from there.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you...
I always wondered if it was prosthetics, Miles, on Ricardo Montalban, if that really was his chest.
I don't know. Tom Cruise, you know, in his latest, that dude
that was a good movie.
Yeah,
but, I wonder if Ricardo Montalban's chest felt like fine Corinthian leather.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know if you remember the Cordova commercials that he used to do for the Cordova car. Sorry, we're old.
Hey, listen, but that was one fine luxury car.
It was a beautiful car. I had one.
My whole thing that I was really fixated on was the Grand Prix.
Oh, that was a beautiful car too.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Yeah,
and
buddy.
I loved the Dodge Magnum when it first came out.
I just saw a story that 2 pristine Super Bs have been found.
No kidding.
Yes.
That's a Plymouth, isn't it?
Yes, it is. One with the Richard Petty baby blue, and the other one is a black with the white stripe down it.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh, and they say it's probably both of them are now worth well over $500,000 each.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
So what does that make you and I worth?
More, Wayne.
More, exactly.
More. We're classics.
We are. And that's why people come. I mean, look how many people are in here. Why? Because it's the classics, man. The classics never die.
I just don't like the idea of it can't be good all the time.
Well, you were taken from the happy place. That's what the Kabbalion says. That's where we came from. We were taken from what they describe as the happy place. And it makes sense because we were in the womb of the mind of God.
That's true.
How
about like a 73 or 74 Dodge Charger?
Oh, yeah.
That was a beautiful car. I love that thing. It looked like a shark.
One of my first cars was a Barracuda.
Oh, that was a nice looking car too.
Oh, yeah. I
couldn't afford that.
Well, I sold a lot of marijuana back then, but anyway.
Not that anybody's counting.
None even cares either. You do what you had to do, and I've said this, Jeff.
So Wayne was in the import-export business for a while.
Absolutely, I was. Pier 1 got their whole business model from us.
That's what Larry Hawk, that preacher, and I still like Larry Hawk. I know he's got
Yeah.
his problems, but he really helped me out at the moment. He says, "I used to be in the how do I put this? The import export business, aka a drug dealer."
Well, yeah, when you're 16, and you're on the street, you just, you know, it tells me why I know that I was destined to finally arrive. I would not have been able to receive this wisdom in my 20s.
Yep,
I'd have rejected it, Jeff.
yep. I've
Um,
always thought I wish I could go back and tell myself then what I know now. But then I realized it would be an exercise in futility, Wayne, because I wouldn't believe me anyway, because I knew everything back then.
yeah,
Even it's like, I think the master, or it's put in there, said that even if somebody raises from the dead and goes and tells these people, they wouldn't believe him. I'm that guy. I could have gone back. I could go back to 18-year-old Jeff right now and tell him exactly what to do, and I wouldn't listen.
I know what I'd have done. I'd have handed you a joint, you know?
I don't think have I ever smoked? Maybe once or twice in my life.
Yeah.
Just never did it. I
Well,
was always afraid of the devil. I thought that if I did any drugs, the devil would be chasing me. So the devil kept me off of drugs, Wayne.
I remember Jesse Duplantis in a sermon he had about that.
He talked about the devil kept him off of drugs.
Oh, well, he used to drop a lot of LSD himself.
Oh,
And
so the devil didn't keep him off of drugs.
yeah, he said, folks, the devil saw me and he turned around and ran. So,
Wow.
so but
And
then
I go
again,
back and forth on the whole cannabis thing. I know that cannabis has a lot of good medicinal qualities. Be careful, Sophia. I know that cannabis has a lot of good medicinal qualities, but I remain staunchly against its recreational use. And I know it's going to cost me subscribers, but so be it.
no, I mean, listen, pot has no business to being in the hands of teenagers. It will, in fact, retard their emotional growth. And I think that this also has a corresponding potential even on the soul's journey.
Oh, I think it
Um,
does too. I remember, yeah, I lost a lot of friends over marijuana. I wouldn't hang out with people or go out with people that smoked marijuana. And I mean, it caused a few arguments.
I probably did. And see, I
And they were
hung
short
around.
arguments because it was like, sorry. I mean, you talk about Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
When Doc Holliday was, who was it that said, I can't remember the Pierce or the Powers Booth character, what his name was, but
Oh,
well, bye.
yeah. Bye.
Yeah, well,
I'll
bye.
think of his name here in a second.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
It
just
wasn't Johnny Ringo.
no, Curly Sue.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Curly
Curly
Bob, I
Bird.
believe.
Curly Bird or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. No, one of the things I'm learning by reading the manuscripts, the journey of one's soul. Um, I have more hope, more excitement now, Jeff, because I realize that my journey and every one of the people that are in here, I can't even see the chat rooms going by so quick, but every one of us, folks, your journey has been unique to you. And upon that journey, the experiences that you've overcome, the battles, Jeff, there is a great reward. I mean, there is some exciting times heading. The weighing of the soul, the fact that you had mercy, that you showed kindness, are elements that as I said, alleviates the soul of the things that hold it down. But your mind is going to go back to the happy place.
Wayne, does the pendulum have to swing or can we stop it in the middle?
Well, I think my question for you is, where is the pendulum in its swing?
It depends upon the day.
Well, let me
Ooh, Mark Center Saint, cannabis, can abyss.
cannabis, can the abyss.
Ooh.
So when I think of you when you're saying this, I ask you, is that maybe you're riding this eternal pendulum that is still on its way up. You just look behind you from where you've come.
That's interesting. That's
Because,
interesting. Interesting.
Your energy is going and projecting that higher vibration. And I would say that your life is showing you are ascending. So it would make sense.
Right, but you still have bad moments. Why can't all the moments be good?
Well, a wise rabbi once told me that you would never know what joy was if you did not experience pain.
I don't like that.
Well, when you become God, then you can fashion a whole universe.
When I become God, I shall be God of the happy place.
See,
Perpetual happiness.
I think that that's where we're doing, so you're heading there anyway, buddy. I mean, it's okay.
I just need to unattach.
Oh, that's profound, Jeff, because we all do. I think that when you can get to the place where money doesn't matter anymore, yeah, I know the matrix we're in, but the fact is that it's not your sole focus. You're
Well, wait,
not
how
out.
about me?
What about?
7 months ago, I was in the place where money didn't matter anymore. I didn't worry about anything except making YouTube shows and making rods and doing spiritual counseling. I didn't worry about any of that. I had my bills were $800 a month at the most, more like 6 or 7. I didn't have any worries about anything. And I have somebody, you're not the first one to tell me that. Leslie Wilson says Jeff should smoke some cannabis. I've had a lot of people tell me that, but it ain't going to happen. But I have moved of my own. I made a decision to come back into the matrix, have to go back to work, have to go back to bills, going into a relationship. I've made the decision to go back into the matrix.
Yeah, but you're willing to pay the price for that which you sought. And that's love. Love another individual.
There is a price.
There is. And there's
There
a
is a
price for
price.
knowledge. I mean, you look back all the way back to the ancient scribes and Plato, as he wrote, all those who go through, there is a price to be extracted. There is a tuition to be paid.
There is a tuition to be paid.
No one gets a free ride. And you know what, Jeff? When I see people who have a hard time accepting this, that's cool. Sometimes some people don't want to pay the price. And then there are just those souls. Sue G said something to me that impacted me. We were talking after the show, and I expressed how I'd like to do something. And she said, wow, you're really a control freak. She didn't use the word freak. I said, what? She said, what makes you think that your position in life is to do something for someone else? She says, what gives you the right to impart your will on their path?
And she was talking about even in the show, she was like, true love is just letting someone be who they are and accept. And I'm famous for saying that true love is wanting the best for the other person, regardless of how it affects you.
Yeah. And I went, wow, I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
And it's like the audacity of intent. That word audacity and intent is used quite frequently in the Kabbalion. I mean,
I got a long way to go. I mean, about 7 months ago, I thought I was almost there, but guess what, Wayne? I was wrong.
No.
I got a long way to go.
My friend, we all do. And I think arm in arm, hand in hand, foot in foot, we're all going to get there. I don't think if anyone wants to rise up, this is their opportunity. And there's a lot of channels out there, Jeff. You and I know that. They can choose, and I'm still humbled by how people continue to join that. I want that. I really want that's something that we can do for them. I think it's better than giving them money. What's the old axiom? If you see a man who's hungry, you can give him a fish and he's going to be satisfied just for one meal. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll never go without a meal.
Right. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for life.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're doing.
Day, Wayne, I think religion is giving people fish, and spirituality is teaching people how to fish.
Ooh, you need to make a shirt on that.
I should.
I'm
That's
serious.
what I'm doing. I'm trying to teach people how to fish. But you know what? A lot of people just want you to hand them a fish.
Yep. You can
I don't
give
want
it.
to bait that hook. I don't want to touch that worm. I don't want to take that wiggly thing off it. I don't want to have to scale it. I don't want to have to clean it.
Or it's too hot. You know, I don't want to
Too
fish.
hot. I don't want to have to bread it.
You know.
Just give me a fish. No.
What
I'm not
is the
giving you
book?
a fish.
Denise, the book is The Kabbalion. So, by the way, and I know I'm going to get inundated with this, I do have a PDF copy of The Kabbalion. If anyone does not have the ability to get it, just drop me an email. Jeff, I'll send it to you, and you can, you don't need to go and buy one.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll do it when we get off here.
Go fish.
Think about that. And
That's
who,
crazy. It's so
and
true.
who's going to be the one who's going to be more rewarded? Who gives more honor to the Creator than to teach, not particularly give?
And isn't, I mean, one of the greatest, if you believe the whole story, one of the greatest disciples was a fisherman, and they all were, most of them were fishermen.
Yeah.
Except for Matthew was a tax collector, right?
That reprobate.
That reprobate. So yeah, get out there and fish.
Get out there. And listen, one thing about it, the ocean is now full. We got 7.5 billion people. And you know, the religions of the world are seeing it. One guy said the move of the atheist and the nuns, you know, the NONESs. And I thought to myself, well, that's a slap in the face, buddy. I mean, because what you're trying to do is compare you to someone else. Why? It's knowledge, Jeff.
You know, Michelle Cannon-Free quotes the, oft-quoted verse, "I will make you fishers of men." I'm going to look at that, and I wonder if he really just said, "I will make you fishermen. I will teach you how to fish." Wouldn't that be something?
Is a clear distinction. That's very interesting, Jeff. Check that out.
There may be a show on that coming up later today.
Yeah, that's cool. Listen, I'm convinced that the Christ, you know, because here's the thing. I was in the shower and I was thinking about this week. So we get the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Right.
And all these books were written decades after the fact. And I thought to my mind, what person in their rational mind believes that any person can sit 40 years later, 30 years later, and give you a verbatim conversation, including exclamation points along with intensity and inflection of voice? Folks, it's a story.
When the literal Greek says, "Follow me and I will make you fishermen."
Fishermen.
It doesn't say fishers of men. It says, "I will make you fishermen."
That is you see, that's breaking the God spell right there.
That is.
That's huge, Jeff.
Fishermen. It's not about changing other people like we were just talking about. It's about changing yourself, empowering yourself.
That's profound, my friend.
That is Matthew 4:19. I will make you fishermen, not fishers of men. See how one little word change, one little alteration can screw you all up.
You get a whole doctrine out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they did.
I will make you fishermen. So I'm doing the work of Christ. I am trying to be as much like Jesus as I can be, because I'm trying to make fishermen and fisherwomen.
And that's the point that I was trying to make. It is a mind. The message is a mind. It puts you in the mind of a higher thought.
It does.
Yeah.
And it makes you self-sufficient. And that's why, the church is fishers of men. They're trying to catch us all in a net. And the last thing they want is for us to be fishermen and be self-sufficient.
Because they are the fishermen.
Absolutely, they are.
And you're the bait.
You're
It's
the
like,
tuna, they're the net.
yeah, yeah. It's like, every time I see those tunas they catch, and I'm thinking, that was a proud animal. And it's
Yeah.
looking up going, oh, man.
Can I vent something, Wayne, that has
Sure.
nothing to do with anything?
Yeah.
Dolphin, right?
Yes.
They're supposed to be so brilliant. You know, some people say they're smarter than us, right? Smartest creature, Flipper and Sea World and all that stuff. But if they're so smart, how do they keep getting caught in tuna nets? If I'm a dolphin and I'm that smart and I see a bunch of tuna, I'm going the other way. I've always wondered about that my whole life.
Well, how do we get caught in nets?
Exactly. We're supposed to know better too,
We're
aren't we?
supposed to know better, aren't
But
we?
we're hungry and I
It's
don't have
like,
to chase these fish around. Here's some right here
it's the
waiting for
song,
me. Go over here and get these ones easy. And guess what? Before you know it, you're caught in that. So you're looking for the easy way. Those dolphin because they're lazy dolphin. They're looking for the easy way, just like
yeah,
lazy people.
it's like the
Wow.
song Steely Dan sang, I'm a fool for doing your dirty work. And we do it, we get hurt. And like you said, we walk right back into it. So
Yep.
often we're going like, why? Because it's comfortable.
And
I don't
maybe
know.
the sick ones get caught in the net. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe their stuff is off. And yeah, I'm judging dolphins. I'm like, but how are they
And
so
the
smart?
dolphin's going to say, well, you jerk, you're the one putting the net out. I was just fine till y'all
I'm
came
not,
along.
and who was it? I think that I don't know. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there. I've already made enough people mad.
You made a lot of people glad.
But the tuna fish, I miss that great dolphin flavor in the tuna a little bit back when I was a kid. It tasted so good.
Someone asked me, why would a god, yeah, I still have it right here, wrote from my radio show.
Mark Center's saying dolphins are still in school.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And she said, why would a god create a body that would require a food chain that we have to either eat something alive or we have to eat something dead in order to stay alive?
Yeah.
I went,
Jane says there's always two sides of the story. Usually there's three.
yes.
Her side, his side, and what really happened.
Then what really happened, and that's where the mind. And folks, if you can just begin to view God as the all.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the all.
Sandra says that's interesting. I'm not sure what she thinks is interesting. Certainly not the dolphin and the tuna thing.
I don't know.
But why do we have to eat? We shouldn't. Yeah, if you're a god, you wouldn't. Yeah, this flesh is a trap. It's not.
It is. Listen, isn't the thing about the grays that if they exist, I've never seen one, but they say that they do, and they say that they have no digestive system because their skin actually absorbs all the nutrients and the air.
And we should. I mean, there's people that can live just by sun gazing, even people. So I guess you can get to that place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Go figure.
Go figure. Well, I guess we've officially run out of things to talk about.
Yeah, I guess we have. Boy, we really had this was a good show.
Sorry, Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie.
One more tuna reference that I stole from Mark Center Saint.
Oh, well. Hey, we grew up with the commercials. I remember Charlie. Charlie can never get caught.
He can never get caught.
Now you kind of think about, well, wait a minute. He always wanted to get caught, but he couldn't get caught.
Yeah. Ask any tuna you happen to see, Wayne.
There you go.
Or ask any mermaid you happen to see.
The sea, yes.
What's the best tuna?
In the sea.
The chicken of the sea.
Jeff, I've enjoyed it.
What brand was Charlie the tuna with?
Starkist?
Starkist, that's right.
Yeah. Boy. Anyway. All right, we give shameless plugs.
We do. And think about the name Starkist. What's that trying to tell us?
Woo.
We did a little show the other day about we were just driving down the road coming home from the gym looking at car logos and the Subaru logo is the Pleiades or the Pleiades. I don't know, how do you say that?
Yeah, Pleiades.
Pleiades. It's the Pleiades. Then you look around at all of them, they're all like coats of armor and shields, and you think about people driving the way they drive, it's almost like they're programming us. Anyway.
We ought to do a show on that because the symbolism is everywhere.
It is. The symbols are all around us. I
always keep this above here, but I tell people all the time, there is the
Yeah,
sigil of Saturn.
that is the sigil of Saturn.
Yeah, and there's the all-seeing eye of Ra.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at this, it's got occultism all over it.
it does.
Yeah. Of course, people will say, nah, no, that's not true. Yeah, it
That's
is.
not true.
Anyone that goes to Washington, D.C., go to the Capitol and see which god stands in the middle of the rotunda.
Yep.
And look which goddess adorns our Capitol.
Yep.
Diana never left.
Symbols are the first and oldest attempt at mind control.
Yes, whoever
And
said
they're
that, spot on.
sigils. That was Sandra D. They're
Yeah,
sigils.
they're sigils. They're powerful. I am
They
making
are.
my own sigil.
Yep. I make my own.
Yeah, folks, and you should do the same. That when you begin to realize, Jeff, as you keep saying, we are divine beings.
We are.
And there are reasons why symbols are as they are.
And I mean, think of the McDonald's logo. Have they really mastered it? Because their whole logo is curves.
Mm-hmm.
Are they trying to get everybody to come into the curves?
Well, it's worked for them.
It's worked. Billions and billions served, Wayne.
I guarantee you Ray Kroc didn't think about that. Or maybe he did.
Or maybe he did.
Maybe he did.
Maybe he did. The two-tailed siren of Starbucks.
So I made this
It goes
statement.
on and on.
And I'll just put it to as we close out. About, I don't know, what right when we started doing these programs, I kept saying, why aren't there any alchemists? Where are the masters at? I just want to say this. They're everywhere. I am beginning to realize that there are far more masters out there, and they do exactly what they're supposed to do. And Jeff, alchemy is everywhere.
Alchemy is everywhere.
It is.
Alchemy is everything.
It is. You know.
And there you have it, folks.
There you have it, folks.
There you have it.
Well,
Wayne, tell them how to get to your channel.
R. Wayne Steiger. Just come
Just
on
that
over.
easy. Wayne, do you have a website?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No. You know what? I kind of look at it like this. I do the radio show and I do the YouTube channel. Jeff, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my days, because there's a living legacy that will be left here no matter what, and start doing teachings on this.
Absolutely.
Jeff,
How's the radio show going?
Apparently doing very, very well. So
did Ronald McDonald get done away with? Somebody said
yes, he did.
They did away with Ronald McDonald?
Yes, he's
gone.
Are you
sure?
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh, dude, I'm going to do a show today about creepy clowns.
That's a creepy one. Speaking of it, growing up as a kid, I hated Bozo. Freaked me out all the time. I swear.
I never felt one way or the other about clowns, but I know a lot of people are afraid of them. So
I tell you
look
what,
at why people are afraid of clowns today on the new cosmic
because
knowledge.
they're demon faces. That's what they are. Who the hell has a big old bulbous nose? Red.
You know what? I am going drunk. I am going to Bill Clinton. I'm going to miss Ronald McDonald. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. Well, the Hamburglar, I miss him too.
I miss the Hamburglar.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh well.
They're changing, Jeff.
They're changing. All right, Wayne. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Love and light.
Thank you all.
And all that good stuff. And of course, somebody had to come up with the John Wayne Gacy clown reference.
Of course. Of course.
Serial killer dressed as a clown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note,
we're out of here.
That's it.
All right. Bye.